Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Average Guy adventure. Well, more of a continuation of an old adventure. We're going back after those fire lookouts, but this time we're having success. On our way to our first lookout, we actually passed by the Tillamook Forestry Center. It's a great place. If you're ever in the area, you should check it out. And the neat thing is they have a replica fire lookout, like the ones that were built on the peaks that we're gonna go check out. So this is a good opportunity. We're gonna go check out the museum and look at what the lookouts used to look like. So this is, they lived up here, huh? I suppose you could go out and go for walks and stuff. Like in the morning, there's very little fire. So they probably wouldn't even get on duty until after lunch. Do you know how this works?
Like this is the fire.
So the center where this spins is right over the top of where we are. So you look through this here, put this crosshairs on the fire, and there used to be a thing that slid up and down that would tell you the angle. But then that would tell you your compass bearing.
They just use fishing line to fix it.
Yeah, that compass bearing, then they could get on the radio over here and radio out that I have a smoke on this compass bearing, and then another. That's why there were so many lookouts. They could see, all the lookouts could see the same smoke, but by calling out their angle, they were able to, on the map where the lines cross, that's where they knew the fire was. This is Hoffman. We live right there, so there's one right above our house. There's Sammy's corner. There used to be one up there above us. Anyway, we went down, we went to Round Top, and we were gonna go to Blue Lake. It was our next one on our last trip, and we just couldn't get from there to there. We actually wound up all the way up into here. We couldn't cross the valley. We tried and tried and tried. So this time we've gone south, and we're gonna go up and get them from this side. Well, yeah, that's the only one we've been to. We're gonna go to Kilchis, Cedar Butte, Triangulation, and then on the way back we'll hit Saddle Mountain. That's my plan anyway. There's the drag saw. There's a steam donkey. So these were all over the woods. This is what they used to drag the logs back in the 20s and 30s.
I bet it was just berries
and earlier. This was actually really dangerous because you have a lot of pressure. So much pressure that you could tow logs. You think about it, full old growth sized trees. Oops. So we're hiking up the road, we're looking for Cedar Butte Lookout, and we find there's actually a trail. These signs are pretty well faded and worn, so I don't know how well maintained this trail is, but we're gonna give it a try. I'm kind of excited. There's a trail up to the top. So they would have had to pack up their supplies and staff the lookout by hiking up this trail. Imagine coming up here for a week with everything on your back.
Oh, where would you get your water?
Hopefully they have a rain catch or something. Or do you have to bring it with you? We've made it to the summit of Cedar Butte. That trail was harder than I expected, to be honest with you. They tried to take some video, but it was way steeper than the video would show. I'm sure it won't show it. It was so steep at times I feel like I could reach out and touch it with my hand. I think about the guys that used to man the lookout or even build the lookout up here, had to carry everything. They were a tougher breed back then. So we're right in the center of the Tillamook burn. This is kind of the middle. There was no lookout here before the burn. So they built the first lookout after the burn started. I've got some notes here. In April 15, 1936, so 3 years after the big burn, construction of 3 new lookout stations established in the Tillamook burn was approved and recommended to Governor Martin. A lookout would be established on Cedar Butte in the central portion of the 1933 burned area. And in 1937, a 40-foot timber tower with a cab was constructed. So in 1937, they constructed just a log with a crow's nest on top of it. In 1937, here's a note. The lookout, Alfred Hastings, suffered severe facial burns when his bread pudding backfired on him. Hastings placed the pudding in a tightly covered can and put it on the oven. Later, when the oven was opened, the lid blew off, throwing part of the boiling pudding in his face. So he was all alone up here when he got burned. Then August 20, 1939, they had another fire. So late reports from the Tillamook said 45 firefighters ran a mile to escape encirclement by the Trask fire when the wind suddenly shifted. Gene Scott, the Cedar Butte lookout, also was reported to have been trapped by this fire change. He broke through the ring of fire surrounding his station, so surrounding where we are, by swimming and wading 4 miles down the Wilson River through the fire to safety. That was in 1939. Then later in 1939, a new 40-foot timber tower with a 14 by 14 L4 cab, so almost exactly like the replica we were down at the Forestry Center, was built where we're at right now. And in 1955, the lookout duties transferred to the new lookout at Triangulation Point. So we're going to go find another lookout after this. And in 1955, they abandoned this spot and they went to that other peak. We made it.
Man, what are you guys gonna drink? Got my water bottle here.
berries. Okay, we are heading up to Triangulation Peak, where the old lookout used to be. We drove as far as we can, but we know we're close. You gonna come with, Sam? Okay, Sam's gonna stay back with the truck. Hey, look, we got some concrete remnants. Of course, there's the sheriff's comms trailer up here, but unlike the last lookout, there's actually remains of the original lookout. Let's see what was here. This is the summit of Triangulation Peak. There was a lookout that was just a 14 by 14 foot cabin that was built in 1955. And that matches up with what we saw in the log for Cedar Butte, which is right over there where we just were, well, an hour or so ago. In 1955, they replaced that lookout with this one. There wasn't a tower, it was just a cabin built on top of the rock. I can understand why. You can actually see forever up here. I see in 1957, I'm just reading a newspaper article where they state, matter of fact, that Miss Margaret Wells spent last week here with her parents, Mr. and Mrs. L.L. Wells, between completion of her year's work at University of Oregon and starting to work Monday on the fire lookout at Triangulation Peak in the Tillamook Burn. And that was in the Vernonia Eagle that posted that. And then in 1966, there was some kind of emergency here, and they removed the lookout in 1967. It doesn't say what that emergency was. That horizon line is the horizon of the Earth. We're looking over the Pacific Ocean, all the way to the edge of the North American continent. Guys, ready to go find a camp?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's starting to get dark. Starting to get hungry. We bagged 2 pigs today, though. That's better than last time we tried. How's this for a campsite? Okay, we're just about got camp set up. We're gonna start cooking pretty soon, but this is a good spot. I really think we're having a beautiful night. I'm glad we're able to get away this weekend. I don't always get to pick the weekends I'm free, and this just happened to be one of them, so yay. I think those clouds are gonna come wash over us. It really feels like we're on top of the world.
Yeah, I think they are higher since last time when we just got here. Look at that one. It looks like a spike. Like something shot up at it. You know what would actually be really cool to see? Someone shoot up into the cloud.
See how this time lapse works out. I slept in this morning. It's got a nice view. I'm gonna get up and make some coffee. Good morning, everyone. It's about 7 a.m. Sun's coming up. Still a beautiful spot. There's a little breeze this morning. It makes it chilly, but I have a feeling it's not going to last long. Slept well. No thunderstorms this night, which was really nice, but we're enjoying this top of the world view. What a neat view this morning. A couple pictures, now I'm trying to time lapse.
It was a struggle this morning to boil our coffee. The wind was too strong, so we had to move the stove over to the tailgate. I think we had the heat on for a good 20 minutes or half an hour and no boiling, so I am pretty thrilled to see a little coffee going up in there.
Another gate. We're trying really hard to get back to the Blue Lake Mountain Lookout. That was the same lookout we were trying to get to at the end of the last episode, and we spent all day and couldn't make it. Then the gate was closed. The only route from the north side was closed due to fire season. This time, the only gate from the south is closed for hunting season. The reason that the gate is closed is that this is private property through here. There are patches of private property in the Tillamook State Forest. The Tillamook State Forest was formed after the Great Tillamook Burns. The state bought the property because it was devalued after the burn. But some landowners held on to their patches of property. The Blue Lake Mountain Lookout was built by Crown Zellerback back in the day. Now, Crown Zellerback I don't think is around anymore. I think it's owned by Hampton Lumber now. But it's private property past here. But because the gates say there's closed during hunting season, the last one says it was closed because of fire danger, it's possible that the gates are open, but not today. I think we need to give up on my white whale, this Blue Lake Mountain lookout, and we're gonna go try to find South Saddle lookout next. What's for lunch?
Bread. I could use your pocket knife, actually.
Bread for lunch?
Bread. Oh, sandwiches are for lunch. I could use your pocket knife for the bread.
For the homemade Subway bread?
Yep. We've got apples from our tree. We had our own bacon and eggs this morning for breakfast from the farm. And I made bread. So we're set for food for today.
Okay, this is Saddle Mountain Lookout. We're, you know, 1/10 of a mile away, but we have to hike the last little bit to the summit. Looks like it's full of trees. We'll see what we can see. Bringing my drone just in case, but might not be able to launch it up there. We'll find out.
Oh. Yep. Still puts the branches right. Oh, there you go. All right.
I was afraid this road won't go right. We might have to bushwhack or something. If this trail doesn't get us to it.
Okay, we are at the highest point. I don't know where else you'd put a lookout. Also happens to be there's a motorcycle trail went right through here, so we had to pull the dogs away as a couple motorcycles shot over. They were surprised to see us, but they managed. Anyway, I'm going to put the drone up because this is flat, like they might have leveled it out for the tower. Oh, let's see what it says. My notes. In July 1930, so this is even before the big Tillamook burns. The fire lookout logged. Weather damp, slightly cloudy. Cougar killed my dog 40 feet from lookout tower at 11:30 this morning. This was the daily report received by State Forester Crone Miller today from J.A. Stevenson, forest fire lookout at Saddle Mountain near the head of the Wilson River. Except when a fire breaks out, the life of a lookout is said to be uneventful. August 31st, Tom Stevenson, lookout on Saddle Mountain in northern Tillamook County, seemed to have a tendency to get into mix with cougars. Last year about this time, while Tom was in his lookout 90 feet above the ground, a cougar came to the foot of the tree in midday and killed his dog. Tom, of course, having no gun, looked on while the cougar was after the dog and was unable to do anything. Since he returned to his lookout this year, Tom has been carrying a large 6-shooter to the top of the tree each morning when going up. About a week ago, he gazed down at the foot of the tree and there stood a cougar taking in the situation. Tom fired once and the animal disappeared. He waited a short time, then went down to the foot of the tree. Evidently, the animal was wounded, for Tom tracked it by blood to a large flat rock about 1/4 of a mile below his lookout. There, the trail ended, and it was impossible to find anything because the flat was covered with huge boulders under which the animal could crawl, and it would be impossible for Tom to reach him. And that's from the forest log. August 1933, Tom Stevenson, lookout in Saddle Mountain near the Washington-Tillamook County line, was forced to abandon his post as the flames swept in all directions up the mountain. One CCC worker was overcome by heat, and an unidentified family reached a camp after being driven from their home. Okay, who's going to hold on to Annie while I launch? Are you recording? Sam didn't want to come up because it's a little bit of a hike and he's not feeling well. Same with the Cedar Butte. He wasn't with us on that trip. So we've been in touch with him by radio. But I'll show the drone video of us flying around and you can see what the view was like from this lookout. I think that's it. Hey Sam, I think we're done. That's the last lookout we're going to do on this trip. We're going to head home.
Hello.
Okay, we'll see you in 10. Anyway, we're going to head home.